Yes, I do. I'm Randy Fisbeck from residing in Lincoln right now. I came down to answer some of those questions and try to represent the Fairbury Alumni Association. At this point, yeah, the Liquor Commission does require you not be able to pass alcohol through or over a fence. So the obvious answer is a 7-foot fence. Down here, they typically put up 2 fences at least 6 feet apart, so you can't pass between the 2. So yes, that will be addressed with the, under the same rules that the Liquor Commission would recommend.
Well, the only reason I say that is because Diller had a problem one year, and they have tall that fence. It's just it takes one person to be dumb to ruin it for everybody from there on and not be able to get a liquor license.
That's true.
How do you plan to fence across the street?
The same way we did with going down
Oh,
the
it's
sidewalk.
those big steel panels that
Or
Either cattle fencers or double layer snow fence or both. Either way, it has
you
to
need
be.
posts for snow fence, don't you?
Well, it has to meet the, in our opinion, it has to meet the rules of the current state liquor commission, which would be not being able to pass a beer or alcohol through or over the fence. And if that means 2 fences 6 feet or 8 feet apart, then so be it.
and then set them in, buckets or cement buckets or whatever.
Yeah, we have cattle fences around here that we have volunteers to help set up, as well as the obviously you can pass alcohol through a cattle fence. So at that point, you'd have to put a secondary fence up, at least 6 feet or 8 feet from that fence. Or the other one is deer fencing or some other 6-foot or 7-foot fence that you either rent or purchase.
And one reason we looked at extending this beer garden this much bigger was last year it was a success, and it was pretty overcrowded. So to alleviate that, and crowding in situations like that kind of breeds trouble sometimes. So we're trying to avoid that too.
And also the biggest concern too is, some will be 21 years old and want to be up front where there's a lot of loud music, and others are a little bit older and they want to sit back further. So if you're cramming all in one spot, last year we felt like after doing a tour at 10 o'clock that the crowd noise alone required us to raise the level of the music. If we spread it out more, we have more picnic tables, people have a chance to actually visit. So in representing the alumni who want to just come and visit and not necessarily be up front with a dance environment, we're trying to be conducive to everybody. And the reason we wanted to expand into the street as well is it's obvious barrier from building to building, not much more fencing as opposed to trying to fence around the sidewalk double layer.
Randy, do you feel that the association would be willing to absorb that insurance costs?
Well, once again, I came down here to answer any objections and overcome any objections. If that's one of the only objection that the city attorney or city insurance agent says we have to have insurance, then we'd have to incur that, as long as it's a reasonable cost. We'll get another alumni to donate, like one of yourselves or somebody to help. There's enough of them around. So to answer your question, yeah, we're here to, it's the second year. We hope to do this on an annual basis and get more involvement and try to have a couple dances at once in the future to try to turn it into an alumni weekend, and that's really the goal. And we're trying to phase out of the total sound thing. It's really a Fairbury total reunion. Any other questions for me? Thank you.
My recommendation is to approve the closing of the street. I'd like to have a recommendation from the rest of the council on the fee. I would be in favor of allowing the event planners to pay the fee. If they don't pay the fee, they don't get the street. I can't see using tax dollars to pay for a beer garden. I think you set a dangerous precedent doing that. So, with that in mind, I would be willing to make a motion that we approve this based on the fact that the event planners would be willing to pay whatever insurance cost that the city would incur to have this event on public property.
I'd second it.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this as long as the planners will pay the fee that it costs that we would incur from the insurance. Correct? Any other questions?
I just will mention that I do know that Chuckles have to pay an additional $250 on top of their general liability insurance for this event also. So
They do have the same agent, so.
same agent,
They
yeah.
might have it covered already.
Yeah, it could be. They're Nick's going to check into it a little better, but
It's a,
yeah, it could go down.
If it's no cost, it's no
Yes,
cost.
it
That's
isn't.
great for them. If it is, well, I'm sorry, but I can't, in my right mind, obligate tax dollars for something like that, even though it's something for the community, it's still, it's not an approved way to spend tax dollars. There'll be a lot of people that won't be very happy about it, using tax dollars to do that, so.
And going forward, I think we need to make sure that we check on that fee for that person ahead of time, so it
Sure.
doesn't get down to the last minute. Because in previous we've changed insurance the last couple of years, and I know that they have discussed that before. The other insurance carrier, it was covered under their umbrella thing, whereas this one is one special one. So that's just something that we've got to be aware of as a city and take care of our community that way too.
I agree, and I will comment on that for the street department. Anything involved in the public arena, he said, Gil explained, and this is just with that insurance company, that it's on a case-by-case situation. Anything involving the streets or the parks, obviously, in the future, will now be aware to call on a case-by-case situation and find out whether or not they're worth that fee.
Because I'm sure there's also a fee for the high school parades that are coming down the streets, because when we went to municipality thing, they said that's possible depending on what your insurance company
It
does.
depends,
So-
yeah, and when I spoke with him, I specifically questioned the flea market. We just had a big flea market, he said, probably not, so it really is just on what the event is, so we'll just
What
need
about
to
the
call
fireworks
each time.
that were down there though? That's dangerous versus. So those are things we gotta look at just to help our community.
Other questions? Please cast your vote. Olson, Bailey, Carmichael, Brown, Rosser, Benner, Kazelka, Davis, all voting yes. Motion carried.